Mode.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Solid Cactus webinar. My name is Scott Sanfilippo. I'm co-founder of Solid Cactus, and today I am joined by none other than Donna Werts. Donna is our senior sales consultant with our call center. Hey, Donna, how are you?
Hi, Scott. I'm doing well. How's everybody?
Welcome back. This is your second webinar with us this month, so welcome back.
Well, thank you so much.
And you brought along with you Kathleen Hayes. Kathleen is one of our QA folks in the call center. She spends a lot of time monitoring those calls to make sure everything is going well. Hi, Kathleen. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
All right. And last but not least, Greg Kosicki. Greg is our senior director of our call center. Welcome back, Greg.
Thanks, Scott. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, we're all ready to learn about soft skills, and Donna and Kathleen are going to walk us through a little bit what they are, how we can use them to better the customer experience for our customers, and they'll do the presentation, and afterwards I'll open up the floor for any questions and answers that anyone may have, and our experts here will be more than happy to answer any of those questions that you may have. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Donna so she can begin today's presentation. Take it away, Donna.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, everybody, for attending our second webinar. This series that we're presenting is to help you grab as many sales as possible. Today's webinar would be about using soft skills to better your customers' experiences. And as you can see on this screen, what we're going to show you is, using soft skills to convince your customers to place an order, how to control a call, and how to provide customer satisfaction. Maybe you've read in one of our emails where I said, you're a customer service guru. You're maybe having an issue capturing the sales you think you should be. What we're going to talk about is what's preventing you from closing the sales that you need to make your fourth quarter shine. So what exactly is a soft skill? Well, soft skills are personal attributes that enhance an individual's interactions and job performance. Unlike hard skills, which are about a person's skill set and ability to perform a certain type of task or activity, soft skills are interpersonal and broadly applicable. I know Kathleen has a lot of things to say about this since this is her expertise. But Kathleen, do you want to go into a little bit what we mean by interpersonal and broadly applicable skills?
Well, it's a good question, Donna, and hard skills and soft skills, they're very much an industry term that the layman might not be as familiar with. So let me kick that back to you. If you had to describe to someone where customer service might not be their real main field, maybe it's a business owner who wants to grow with their customer service abilities but doesn't really know how to do that, how would you define in layman's terms a hard skill versus a soft skill?
Let's look at it in computer terms. A hard skill would be something like your computer tower, where your hard drive would be hardware, where the motherboard would be hardware, where software would maybe be a GoToMeeting. Software would be something like Outlook, like Microsoft Office, things like that. So you want to equate it to that. If it's something that's physical rather than something that is installed.
That's perfect. You need the computer to make it work, but you need the programs to actually have success with it. A computer without a program, or in this sense, soft skills, really is not going to work for you at all.
No. Soft skills are often described by using terms often associated with personality traits such as optimism, common sense, responsibility, a sense of humor, integrity, and abilities that can be practiced but require the individual to genuinely like other people, such as, and I know empathy is a big one, it's very close to Kathleen's heart.
It really is, and empathy probably is the umbrella under which all of the other bullet points would fall. It really encompasses everything. To define it, it's really the ability to identify the feelings and thoughts of your customer, to anticipate their needs, apologize before they ask for an apology. If you know that they're frustrated, just offer it up front. If you can see that they're purchasing a product from you where they're going to need something else, you definitely want to educate them and teach them that in the past, this is something that you need to make this work. It's just anticipating your customer's needs. And I always give the example of when you're at a restaurant and let's say you order a soda with your dinner and you finish your soda and you're still eating. Do you want the waitress to ask you if you want another drink, or if it's a free refill, do you want her just to bring it over and take your empty glass? To me, that's anticipating my needs, and that's something that's going to make me more loyal to that particular chain because it's such good service. Teamwork, leadership, communication, again, they still fall under the umbrella of empathy, the ability to teach your customers. This is a good way to cross-sell and upsell other products. You know your products on your site, so this is the best opportunity that you have to go ahead and really put them out there for your customer and in a really nice way with a good tone. And Greg, I know manners is the next one. We had been talking about the importance of this before, and you had a really good story to offer.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a little boy, and unfortunately he's usually the scope of most of my stories, but we do a lot to try and make sure that he has good manners. He says thank you and please, and when we go into a store, if there's someone behind us, we make sure he holds the door for them, or he helps people, he picks things up for them. And so many times he'll look at me afterwards and he'll say, but Daddy, the person didn't say thank you. And it's so interesting to me because a 6-year-old can see that, and when we try to teach them good manners, if a child can see that, imagine a customer that you're on the phone with, and they know that you're an adult, they know that you know better, and if you're not treating them with good manners and saying thank you for calling, thank you for placing the order, if they're not giving good manners to you, then you feel it, whether you openly state it or not. It's something that you pick up in the conversations.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, Greg, I know when we were having this discussion before, you know, I said the same thing about my children, and they'll say, excuse me, and please, and thank you, and it's not regarded by other people. And, you know, they kind of look at you confused because you're trying to instill that. So definitely what you want to do with your customers is when you have them on the phone, you know, maybe they'll have that same reaction as, wow, did they just thank me? Wow, did they just apologize? You know, and it may stay with them for a while.
And customers do recognize that it's a sign of respect.
Yes, most important of it all, absolutely.
And they'll recognize if you have good manners, but they'll really recognize if you don't have good manners.
Oh, yes, they will. Yes, they will. And, of course, negotiation and sociability. You just want to make sure that when you're speaking with your customers on the phone, if they're having an issue, negotiate that. If it's something they can't return, things like that, maybe offer discount code, something like that, just to show that, you know, I'm sorry I cannot help you, but, you know, to maybe, you know, help you make a purchase with me later. Here's a coupon code. Thank you. Thank you is very important.
And I like that you have the name in here, John.
One of those long-lost words, thank you. It's one of those.
Yes.
It's one of those phrases that have seemed to have disappeared in the world of commerce.
Yes, it has. Absolutely.
I really like that you have the name in here also, Donna. You know, when a customer calls in, they're calling in because they're looking for that type of human contact. They could have done this over the internet. They could have sent an email, but they didn't. They actually took the time to pick up the phone and reach out to another human being. By using the customer's name, this is something that we coach all of our agents in the call center. If you have the name, you've got to use it conversationally at least once, just to show that you are identifying them as another person and you're really personalizing the call for them, showing that you're focused on them as an individual and not just another sale, not just another caller. It's something very small that goes a long way.
All right, let me throw this question out to you folks there. You've got thank you, Mr. Jones. What if you have the customer's first name in front of you? Is it okay to say thank you, Harry, or do we always go with Mr. or Mrs.?
If we have the name, I would prefer our agents to use the Mr. or Ms. But if you ask someone for their name or they're saying, you know, hey, my name's Kathleen, obviously they're okay with you calling them by their first name, so use that. But if I say my name is Kathleen Hayes, I would expect you to say thank you, Ms. Hayes. But it's really, you know, you got to have to, again, anticipate your caller and what it is they're looking for. If I identify myself as Kathleen, you can call me Kathleen. But if I give you my first and last name, I would prefer you to use my last name. I think it's more courteous.
Okay, great.
May I please have that product number? Kathleen, would you like to share how that ties in?
Yes, by thanking someone and then asking a question. By asking a close-ended question, first of all, you're taking control of the call. So now the person is waiting for you to keep asking questions about this. And it's close-ended, so they should not go off too much on a very long tangent for you. Please tie into the manners. Instead of just saying, what's the item number, you're saying, may I please have the item number? And again, there's a big difference between just, just give me the item number so we can get off the call, and I'm going to show you respect and say, may I please have this from you? It's less demanding, and it's definitely more courteous.
Yes, and it really honestly is imperative that, when you are speaking with your customers, it has to be included in that conversation. It just really shows respect. Again, there's that word. It shows respect to your customer. It really does. I apologize.
This is definitely a big one.
This is huge. I apologize is a phrase that you want to say with sincerity, even if the issue is not your fault. You are the one answering the phone, hence it is your fault. You want to express acknowledgement and the problem, acknowledgement of the problem, and offer a solution. And I know, Kathleen, we were actually just talking about this prior to the webinar and a recent experience that she just had.
Right, and again, offering the apology up front to acknowledge that frustration. Now the person they don't feel the need to reiterate the situation over and over again. They know that you understand what's happening and that you apologize that it happened to them. And by asking a question, again, you're going back to you're taking control of the call. Now they're waiting for you to ask questions to get to the bottom of it versus rehashing the situation over and over again. And I was telling Donna, I went to a restaurant recently, and we're doing this diet thing at work. I think everybody's on a diet to lose that last 15 pounds. But, I'm careful about what I order out, and I ordered a turkey sandwich. I had to wait 20 minutes for the waitress to come over, and I ordered it without mayonnaise. So I waited another 20 minutes for the sandwich to be brought, and it had mayonnaise on it. So I was very upset at this point, and I just said, take it off the bill, just bring us to tab, we're leaving. And the manager actually came over and apologized personally. And that was really above and beyond. I mean, yes, he offered me a sandwich at no cost, and that was fabulous. But just the fact that the manager came over and took the time to apologize to me personally, I thought was great. Really, I thought it went above and beyond. And not only do I still frequent that restaurant, it's definitely my restaurant of choice.
And quite honestly, saying the I apology is a good way to show empathy. You're showing an understanding of the customer's situation. You're showing that you're willing to take responsibility for that situation, and you're showing the customer that you're willing to help to make it right. So it makes the customer feel good.
It really does. And then by asking the questions, like, may I have your name and your order number, again, you're taking control of the situation, and you are showing that in some respects you're taking the action to report the situation for the caller.
Absolutely. I would be happy to assist you with that. I hear that when I'm walking through our call center, maybe I'm getting up to go get a drink, maybe I'm going up to ask our virtual office team a question. I hear from all of our agents. I would be happy to assist you with that. Even if that customer is calling in screaming, they are on fire, I would be happy to assist you with that, is what is being said. You cannot go wrong with that phrase. Let's use someone calling for an order status as an example. It may go like this. Customer, hello, I placed an order 2 weeks ago. I wanted to know if there was any tracking information available. Customer service representative. I would be happy to assist you with that so that I can look it up. Do you have your order number? Customer, 12345. Do you mind holding for a moment while I
look into this for you? And again, here we see an acknowledgement of the situation. I'd be happy to help you with that. You're asking the question to take control, and now the customer doesn't feel the need to reiterate the situation that they've been waiting, or it's for a birthday, the birthday's tomorrow, and you have complete control. And Donna was saying something about going through call center. This is this type of acknowledgement is something that can make or break one of our agents. You know, this is something we score very highly in the monitoring process because you really do want to tailor your acknowledgement statement to your customer's individual needs. If this person is saying that they've been waiting for 2 weeks and it should have been delivered a week ago, you know, I'd be happy to help you with that. I apologize for any delay. Again, now you've recognized the situation. You've told them I understand that you're frustrated. I'm going to take care of this for you so I can. May I have your order number, please? And then you go on with a call like that. So it is something that's very important to tailor it to your customer situation. It reassures the customer that you understand what's going on, and it allows you to take control of the conversation as well.
Yeah, one of the benefits of having soft skills, as we mentioned a few times throughout the webinar so far, is that it does allow the agents to take control of the call by acknowledging the situation, saying they'd be happy to help them with it. In a perfect world, all the calls who come into the call center, they'd be happy, they'd want to order something, they'd be making comments to the agents about how well the service was. But we all know that we get some customers who call in who are not very happy. Something didn't happen right, something didn't go well, and they call in very upset, possibly screaming at the agents. Through the soft skills training that you can have or you can give to the agents, they're able to take control of those types of situations and calm the person down. One of our agents, in fact, just won an award from a customer service group because of his ability to deal with clients and his soft skills. I will tell you that I've listened to this agent's calls several times, and when you listen to his recording, somebody could be screaming and yelling at him, and by the end of the call, they're apologizing to him. They're asking what else they can order. They are falling all over him because he handled the situation so well. He acknowledged the error, he apologized to them for it, and he told them what he could do to fix the situation. And never once did he react in a negative way towards the caller, or did he get angry with them. And people react to that. It's all part of the soft skills training that we do.
Right, and there's something, when we go over this type of situation with our agents, something we like to teach them is what I call kick the dog psychology. You know, usually when someone's that irate and they're really screaming at you like that, it really isn't the situation that was the tip-off. It's something else that's going on in their life. You know, maybe their boss yelled at them at work and they can't yell back at their boss, and then they go home and maybe their dog had an accident on the carpet. Well, you know, normally that's not a big deal. You just clean it up, but because you had such a bad day, you're yelling and screaming at your dog, rubbing his nose in it, doing whatever. So you have to understand that when you're dealing with customer service, sometimes you're going to be the dog. And you're just going to have to apologize, let them know that you understand, that you're going to try and fix it for them. And like Greg said, if you can use these soft skills, and I'm going to make up the statistic, which I know Greg hates, but I would say over 90% of the time, your caller, is going to be apologizing to you. They're going to say, you know what, I'm sorry, I know this isn't your fault, I don't need to take it out on you. And as soon as you hit that level, you know that you have, for lack of a better word, broken the customer, and they're going to do everything they can to make your job easier. And you've also promoted loyalty, because when they get off the phone, they're not going to remember so much the negative experience, they're going to remember how you handled the negative experience.
Absolutely true. I know, several times if I have to call a company, the first thing that I say to them is you know what, I'm sorry I'm about to say this. I know it's not your fault. However, and that person on the other line knows that they're going to get an earful. I just want to just give them a heads up right from the get-go that they're going to get an earful from me. And by getting an earful, they better do something about it and fix it. You cannot, it's not always easy for you to be able to avoid an unpleasant situation for your customer. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes just by going that, extra foot for that customer is going to prevent that phone call. But a lot of times that situation's out of your hands. So you've got to do your best to control that situation. And just by allowing them to vent, apologizing, may I, thank you, is going to turn that phone call right around. This slide, VPACE, is something that we're actually going to touch on a little bit in our next webinar on the 31st. Why this is important is because this is definitely providing good customer service, because it could prevent a call back, an angry customer, someone calling for, because they received an email, the credit card information's wrong, something like that. VPACE, verified, phone, address, contents of the shopping cart, and email. This is a very big one for Kathleen. If she is listening to call recordings to monitor our agents and this is not done, I'm pretty sure it's an automatic fail. Is that correct? Is this still an automatic fail? Yes, it is. Why is this good customer service? This shows that you want to ensure that all of their information is correct. So there is no delay or error with their order, plain and simple. What this includes is verify their first and last name, their address, billing and shipping if they're different, city, state, zip code, what is their phone number, their email address, verify the spelling of all of this information. Even if you're not placing an order, let's just say they're calling for their order status, whatever it may be, verify the information. So you don't have to go back and say, oh, I couldn't find it. I'm not, you just don't want to make your customer work more than they have to give you their money. Again, I know we said that over and over during our first webinar. I'm going to say it again. Don't make your customers work to give you their money. It's very important.
And this does save you time and money. I'm sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Go ahead, Kathleen.
I was just going to say it does really save you time and money in the long run. It might lengthen the call a little bit by, say, 45 seconds to go through all this and just read through it, make sure you didn't accidentally transpose a number or a letter. But I just wanted to give an example of we had a client who sold cast iron tubs. And a customer called in to order a cast iron tub. She gave an item number. The agent verified the item number. She verified the name of the tub. She verified the price. When the woman received the tub, she called in and said that we had ordered the incorrect tub for her. Now, all of our calls are recorded, so we were able to pull that recording and take a listen to it. And we realized that, no, the customer actually ordered the incorrect item. She had been threatening to do a chargeback on her credit card. I mean, this would have been over $2,500. But we were able to say, look, we apologize for any miscommunication. We did verify it. And the client made a deal with the shipping. So she did have to pay maybe to ship the tub back, but they gave her free shipping if she would accept an exchange versus canceling the order outright. So it really does save you money in the long run to make sure that all of this is verified.
And I think there's another important part to soft skills, and something else that we train is to make sure that you're speaking clearly. If you are talking very fast, if you're slurring your words, if you're running your words together, people can't hear you, they can't understand you. And one of the reasons we wanted to include this VPay section in here is to show that fact, so that when you're reading this information back to your customer, you're stating it clearly, you're showing that you understood and you heard what they were telling you and that you typed it into the system correctly. If you have a customer, when you read back this information and 3 of the items are wrong that you told them, it makes you nervous. It makes you wonder if you're truly going to get your order and if your order was placed correctly. So remember, part of the soft skills is being able to communicate effectively that we mentioned in a few slides back. And that communication includes talking clearly and talking slowly so that your customer can understand you.
Yes, and the last thing that we want to hear on any kind of monitored call is that just shows some uncertainty. So if you have to repeat back to the person on the other line what you're ordering, what your credit card number is, because maybe they're not fully paying attention, something like that, the customer is just going to turn around and walk away and go somewhere else. So you want to avoid the ums. We all do it. Everybody says Okay, just try to avoid that.
It makes you seem less focused. It makes you seem like you're not as confident. Yes. It's definitely a killer. Greg, just to go back to pace of speech, that's important. That's something else that we look for is the rate of speech that the agent is talking to. And something that we coach is you should speak at the same pace as your caller. If it's an elderly person who's talking slowly, who might be hard of hearing, you definitely want to slow down and match that rate of speech. If it's someone who's younger and maybe talking fast, then you know that you're safe to talk a little bit faster. Whatever works, it's really to make it a better experience for the customer. I don't want to hear a customer say, you're talking too fast, I can't understand you. Mm-hmm. That's definitely another killer.
Good point, Kathleen.
That is, because I'm a pretty fast talker, and when I call somebody, if the person on the other line is talking slow, my patience level drops very quickly. And I'm busy. I want what I want right now. Tell me what I want to hear so I can get off the phone and go back to work for Greg Kosicki, because then he'll be upset with me. So just like Kathleen said, listen to your customer, and listen to their tone and match that. Thank you again. I know Kathleen wanted to speak on what exactly this means. You're done with the call. You've thanked the customer for giving you the information, the reason why they called. You've helped them the best you could. Hopefully you resolved the problem and they're smiling and everything is wonderful. Then what? Then what? Or let's say the person is, the problem and the issue's resolved, or they placed their order. Now they're talking about their puppy, or they're talking to their, talking about their cat or their grandchild, which is all wonderful. We all want to hear wonderful stories, but you have to get off of the phone. How is this a great tool?
It is a great tool, especially when you say something like, is there anything else I can assist you with today? You always want to acknowledge what the person's saying. So if they are off topic, just be like, wow, that's such a great story, Mrs. Jones. Is there anything else I can help you with today? You don't want to ignore it. You want to acknowledge it, but immediately ask a closed-ended question to regain control of that conversation. By thanking them after that, at the end of the call, you need to provide your customer with a sense of closure. It's something they anticipate. They need that sense of closure. And again, this goes back to empathy. By saying thank you for calling or thank you for shopping with us, they know now, okay, the conversation's over. I can hang up the phone. It also promotes loyalty because it shows that whether the comment was good or bad, you appreciated the time they took to call in. If you don't appreciate your customer, why should they order through you again? So going back to Greg's story about manners and having manners and showing your customers manners, again, they're going to recognize good manners, but they're especially going to recognize bad manners. And that's why thank you is so important at the end of a conversation.
I'm just going to interject here, and maybe you can give some tips. I remember years ago in my own businesses, in the beginning, I'd be taking customer service calls throughout the day, and, people would just call and they would just like to talk, and, they would tell me all about their pets, and, they really didn't have very much of an intention to order. They just called up, maybe asked, what color that parent hammock is available in or whatever. And then they would just go on and on about their animal. You don't want to hang up on them, or you don't want to say, all right, are you going to order now? Or how do you deal with a call that seems to be going nowhere and you want to wrap it up? What do you use to do that? How do you do it?
Well, if it's a product question, the best thing to do is ask them if they want to place an order. Certainly, again, acknowledge whatever story they're telling you. Wow, that's such a great story about your ferret. Did you like these hammocks? Did you want to place an order today? By asking, do you want to place an order, they're either going to say yes, and you will secure that sale for yourself, or they will be like, oh, no, thanks, it was nice speaking to you, and they're going to hang up. So it's kind of going to scare them off of going off on all of their tangents, or it's going to lead you to the actual ordering process. And it's just a nice way. Again, you always have to acknowledge first. You always use your empathy. Oh, that's a great story. What's your ferret's name? Oh, it's Bob. Oh, did you want to get Bob a hammock today? We have all these colors available. Which one do you like? Oh, no, I was just asking, but, it was nice talking to you. That's usually a good way to kind of, if they're on the fence, either get them to go ahead and place an order or just get off the line.
Great.
I think one of the biggest things we're trying to get across here today, Scott, is that soft skills is something that can be learned, and it's something that we do a good job of training our agents on. It's not something that has to be a built-in trait. It's not something you have to be born with to be good at. It's something that you can be taught, and through a lot of the steps and the information you see in these slides, it's a good way to teach people how to gain soft skills and how to practice them.
Right. I mean, it's like if you're playing a musical instrument, you're not going to be, Rachmaninoff the first time you sit down at a piano. You have to practice over and over again until you really hone that craft. And soft skills really is a craft. It's something that you really need to work at to excel at.
And these can work in your personal life as well. I would like to note that too. You're in the grocery store, maybe you see someone you went to high school with, and they're badgering you about maybe a 20th year reunion coming up, and these close-ended thank yous again really can get you off the hook and on your way to checkout, and you don't have to commit to the 20-year reunion that may or may not be coming up. So, FYI on that one.
So are you going to your reunion, Donna?
No, it was on Saturday. I didn't go.
Oh.
She didn't go.
No.
I didn't think she would. She used
Which
her
I am
soft
not.
skills to get out of that one.
I did, and I am not even saying that it may or may not have been my 20th reunion either.
Well, I think Kosicki just had his 35th. So,
birthday?
All right, do we have anything else to go over?
No, that was it. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free, to contact us. We'd be, happy to give you some tips or help you out if you have a question.
Okay, what I am going to do before Donna does the final wrap-up here, and I think Greg wants to jump in, I am going to open up the floor for questions and answers. Let's see here. Right now, the question box should have popped up on your screen. If you have any questions about, customer service skills, how to do this, how to do that, how to turn those calls into money and orders, now's the time to ask your questions while we have our panel here today. So you can go ahead and just type your question in there, and I'll read them off to our panel, and we'll get some answers for you. So, Greg, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. And while we're waiting for questions to come in here, what we'd like to do is, for the attendees at the webinar today, we'd like to offer you an exclusive deal so that the first 10 people who call in and sign up for call center services with us by August 23rd, you'll get a special deal, a special offer through the call center services. And if you'd like to talk to Donna about that deal, you can reach her at the email that's on your screen right now, or you can give her a call at the number at extension 7172, and she'll be glad to talk to you. Do we have any questions on the board, Scott?
Yeah, let's go ahead here. I've got, let's see here. Yeah, John wants to know, do I really need to verify everything on my customer's order? Seems like when they call in, they know what they want, and I don't usually have any problems. Why do I need to go through all this again?
Well, it's a very good question that you're asking, but you really want to go through, one, to show that you're focused on your customer, two, to make sure that you haven't made a mistake. I mean, we all transpose numbers, we all transpose letters. Think of the cost it would save you rather than having to stop a shipment with UPS or FedEx, or recall something, or order something else and have it sent out, and you've got all that money put out there tied up until you can get it back. Okay, so maybe out of 100 calls, you would only make maybe 2 mistakes. But if taking that extra 30 or 40 seconds to verify to prevent that mistake could save you, like, maybe say $50 or more, isn't it then worth it to you? And you especially want to verify things like phone number and email address, because that's your prime method of communication with your customer. If you've made a mistake in the email address and it's bouncing back to you, well, now you have to pick up the phone and conceivably make a long-distance call. You're going to have to pay for that. What if you got a phone number wrong? It also gives your caller the opportunity to ask any questions or make any changes. What if they're giving you a P.O. box for a billing address, and the billing and shipping they're saying is the same, and you verify it, and they're like, well, wait a minute, how do you ship? And maybe you weren't thinking, well, wait a minute, I ship UPS, they don't ship to P.O. boxes. It gives you the opportunity to make that correction before it becomes an expensive mistake.
I placed an order via the phone one day with a company, and they said, well, thanks for your order. You'll get an order confirmation in the next couple of minutes. You can verify that when it comes in to make sure everything is okay. And, the first thing I said is, well, why can't we do that now? And the rep told me, well, you'll get an email confirmation. If everything looks good, you don't have to do anything. So not a very good thing, even though you are getting an email confirmation. Just take the time to review. Here's kind of a fun, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, how many times does it accidentally go into their spam? So maybe they don't see the order confirmation.
Exactly. Or he wrote, my email address was spelled wrong because my last name is 418 letters. Let's see here. This is kind of a fun question. What is the strangest call you ever got that ended up making the customer happy? Kathleen, I'm sure you listen to a lot of calls every day.
Oh my goodness, there's so many.
You know what? It's not funny, but it's actually just the best call ever. I not here at Solid Cactus, but where I used to work, I took a call from a gentleman. It was a frozen foods company, and he had purchased something, and it gave him very bad food poisoning. He had to go to the hospital. He called in to let me know. It was just a terrible situation. However, because he had food poisoning, they actually found that he had pancreatic cancer, and it was in the very beginning stages.
Oh my goodness.
So normally that's terminal, but because they caught it so early, which they wouldn't have had he not gotten food poisoning from our product, you know, he was just like, I'm not looking for any restitution. I just wanted to let you know and actually thank you because you saved my life. I think that's probably the weirdest, but the best example I could provide.
I don't think anything could top that one.
No.
Okay, Janet would like to know, what's the best way to handle it when a customer talks too fast and it's difficult to get all the info? Probably run into that a lot.
You know what? Don't be afraid to break in. We like to use a lot of verbal encouragers, like, okay, I understand. Kind of break it down for them so it's not really like you're interrupting, but you're kind of stopping them at blocks of information. You also never want to say, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Or what was that? Or this is a really terrible connection. You just want to say things like, I apologize. Would you repeat that for me, please? And eventually they're going to, if they're calling from a cell phone and then they're in a windy tunnel or whatever, they're going to realize that it's their connection. They're going to move to a better spot. But you're not putting them on the spot by blaming them for talking too fast or, having a poor connection. So that's just something I like to do is just, again, use verbal encouragers like, I see, okay, I understand. You know what? One moment, please. Let me look this up for you. And that way, again, you're kind of controlling the situation because you're breaking in every so often.
And if I may add, the last thing you want to do is guess. You don't want to assume, oh, I think this is what this person was saying. It would be much better to, okay, if I understand, and not necessarily interrupting that customer, but breaking them off, as Kathleen said, it's much better to do that than to get the whole entire order wrong, upsetting your customer, and then losing that sale.
Kathleen, would you use those same tactics when you have people calling in with different dialects that you may not be able to understand, or do you have something that's a little more sensitive that you can point us to?
Well, that's something that does come up quite frequently with a lot of our clients. And honestly, what I try and get our agents just to do is just to keep apologizing and make it seem like it's your fault that you can't understand them. Your caller knows that they have a heavy accent. They know they're speaking broken English. They don't need you saying things like, I can't understand you. What did you say? When you say things like, I apologize, would you repeat that for me, please? And then definitely summarize what you think they're saying. Because while their grammar might not be perfect or their pronunciation might not be perfect, if you can summarize it, they recognize what you're saying and they can say yes or no and clarify further.
Great. Okay, here's a question that I'm sure I deal with it a lot, and anybody who's running an e-commerce store probably deals with this a ton. How do you handle a customer that calls in and they're dissatisfied with what they received, but it is exactly what they did? They used it, they threw away the original packaging, but now they want you to give them a full refund.
Oh.
What do you do there?
I
know the return policy probably states must be done in 30 days, must be accompanied by original packaging, must not be used, but here's a customer who violated all that and they want a refund.
Well, you might not be able to give them a full refund, but this goes back to where Donna had said you've got to be able to negotiate. So, you're going to stick to your policy and be, apologize. I apologize. It didn't work out for you. Although we do have a 30-day return policy, we're a little bit beyond that. How about I give you a store credit of like $15 on your next purchase? Or how about I'll give us a call and we'll offer you free shipping if you want something else. Give to get. You've got to give them something. If you just deny them flatly, which, you might be comfortable doing that, and maybe you want to, but just remember out there, people, social media, everybody sort of has their own live TV show now with Facebook and Twitter, and it just takes one person to put one thing out there and people to see it and like it or comment on it for it to show up on all these other people's feeds. So you really want to offer them some type of compensation. So they might be like, well, I didn't get what I wanted, but at least they gave me something.
Okay. Let's see here. Janet wants to know, when a customer calls in screaming, why should I thank them for calling?
Well, again, it goes back to whether it's calling with something negative or calling with something positive, you want to thank them for bringing something to your attention. If it's something bad has happened to your customer, you definitely want to make sure that it doesn't happen to someone else. And if it's an issue that you can fix or prevent in the future, it's definitely worth, being the dog in that situation and taking the few kicks to go ahead and make them happy so that you don't make any other customers angry for the same reason.
Right. There's a little bit, and Scott, part of that is where the empathy comes into play. When a person calls in that type of situation, you're not going, "Oh, great, thanks for calling. We appreciate it." You're understanding the situation, and you're saying, "We appreciate you calling in. Thank you for pointing out this issue to us, and here's how we're going to deal with it going forward."
Okay. One thing that I want to mention here, and this ties into this next question that one of our viewers is asking here. Whenever you're dealing with a customer that's complaining that they want a refund, that they didn't get what they ordered, whatever, always make sure that you have documentation when the customer called, what you talked about, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The first thing the customer is going to do when they hang up that phone with you, they're calling their credit card company, and they're going to do a chargeback on that. And if you don't have the documentation to back any of this up, you're going to end up losing that chargeback, and the customer's going to get the merchandise anyway. And you just have to, CYA, cover your butt with an A. But it's basically what you have to do, and you have to keep all these notes, and just make sure that if you do get that chargeback, when you fill out your chargeback paperwork, you type everything up there, everything that went on with that customer. You told them about the return policy. You made them this deal. They didn't take it. They refused to send it back. They used it, whatever, so that your butt's covered when they come with the big arm taking that money out of your checking account. Okay, next question here, and this is one of those things that you do have to CYA on. How do you deal with a customer who says the package wasn't delivered, even though you track it and it shows that it was delivered right to the customer's front door?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That really is a tough one. I know for me personally, when I first started at Solid Cactus, I was an agent, and that was one of my very first phone calls. Oh, that was terrible. I wasn't really, what do you do in that situation? It's showing delivered. They're saying it isn't. You do apologize. It's so hard. It really, that's a very, very hard question.
You have to ask them, too. I mean, did they look around? Did it on their porch? Maybe they left it in the garage. Did one of the neighbors pick it up for them? Did they check around first? And if they did, did you insure that package? And can you submit a claim with that carrier company to have it taken care of?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how I've handled it over the years. And it's basically, you tell the customer that you're going to have to call the shipping company to issue a trace. Trace usually takes, I don't know what it is now, but I think UPS used to be like 5 to 7 days or something. And then once the results of the trace come back, you'll let the customer know what you're going to do. Chances are the trace is going to come back that the package was delivered, and that was it. You can't outright call the customer a liar. So basically what you need to avoid that chargeback, because it's going to come, is you just end up, either refunding the customer or giving the customer another order, and try to file that claim with the shipping carrier and see if they take it or not. But it's something that happens all the time, and a customer may not want to wait 7 days for the results of that trace to come back, but you just tell them that, hey, this is what we have to do. If they get adamant about it, I know we will usually send out a replacement order, and then we just tell them to refuse it if they find it. It does involve additional costs, but like I said, it's worse than getting that chargeback, because how these chargebacks work. If you get so many chargebacks, and there's a history of a lot of chargebacks on your merchant account, you're going to come up for review, and the red flag is going to be by your name there, and you could get a holdback amount put on your account where they're going to keep so much money in escrow, or they may just close your merchant account because you've got too many chargebacks. So you really have to be careful, because a lot of this stuff does impact the way you do business. Well, folks, that looks like that is all of our questions here today. I appreciate all of you who took the time to join us on this webinar and ask some questions. We hope that you got some good info out of it and how you can, use these skills within your own customer service group and in your own business. And, that offer is up on your screen. If you're interested in call center services from Solid Cactus or any of the services that we offer there, like the live chat, the answering service, the back-end office type stuff, or straight up answering phones, give Donna a call. Her number has been on your screen along with her email address, and she'll tell you about that special offer that she can extend to you that'll save you a couple of bucks. So go ahead and take the time to just pick up the phone and give her a call and see how her soft skills are.
That's right.
When you talk to her.
I was trained by Kathleen, so they're superior.
That's right.
Donna, Kathleen, Greg, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate the time you took out of your day.
Thank you.
And we hope to see all you folks on another Solid Cactus webinar soon. Thanks, and have a great week.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.